Today's show is brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. You know, America's top-rated sports booking app. Deke, not only is it safe, but it is secure, and you better believe it is reliable. And for all the first-time users out there, because everybody was a first at one point in their life, if you use the promo code MOATS, you'll receive up to $1,000 in deposit bonus money. It's an awesome concept. You definitely want to check that out. But more importantly, make sure you use that promo code. And Deke, you know, every once in a while,
people go overboard, huh?
They don't have self-control.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Deke, when people start to lose that self-control, man, something happens.
What's that?
You got to talk to them a little bit. You got to tell them, if you know somebody who has a gambling problem, you better call 1-800-GAMBLER. I say, if you know somebody that has a gambling problem, or they need crisis counseling, you better tell them to call 1-800-GAMBLER. We're gonna hop into the division recap first, right? Because I do feel like these games this weekend, obviously we're gonna talk about the Bills game, but the games this weekend as a whole, I thought were very exciting, man.
Crazy.
Like, it was such a contrast too from last week's, where a lot of those games were very one-sided. No comment. Obviously, we had a lot of us was watching some of those one-sided games, stuff like that. But this week it was a lot different though, man. This week, man, every game coming down to a play right at the end of it, right? In terms of
literally,
like the walk-off touchdowns, field goals, overtime plays. Like, it was just across the board, the excitement that I felt like when the NFL was drawing it up. This is what they was looking for right here, man. That type of just craziness. You had storylines in all these games. I guess we start with the first one though, right? Bengals, Titans. Cincinnati, bro. Cincinnati. I thought that the youth would show. I thought that it would be one of those, all right, maybe, not gonna be as physical with a guy like Derrick Henry being out there now and stuff like that. But man, them dudes, they look a little different. He didn't look the same. I don't know if he didn't look the same. If anything,
Foreman looked better.
But see, part of me feels like they weren't giving Derrick the same amount of attempts either, though. I felt like with Foreman, they would feed him a little bit more. Whereas with Henry, I don't know if they want to take the whole snap count approach, and that might have been the case, but I just didn't feel like they gave him enough touches to get rolling.
Now, I missed it because I was driving when it happened.
Yeah.
What was their whole reasoning for the 2-point conversion? Because that looked stupid as hell.
It was stupid. Like, all of us were trying to figure it out.
They just thought they had momentum and they could get it.
Yeah, that was it. Because you kick the field goal, you're going to take the lead. It would be 7-6. But instead, like you say, you go for 2, you don't get it, make it 6-6. I never understood that part of it at all. And obviously, when you're talking about how games come down to the wire and stuff like that, you always retroactively go back and say, well, what about this decision here? What about that decision there? Yeah, but I don't understand why. Like, to me, I don't think it was going to be that big of a difference.
Main thing to me, their main takeaway
1 point
from
lead
that
versus
game,
2 point lead, right?
Yeah, main takeaway, in my opinion, was just the quarterbacks. Like Joe Burrow,
yeah,
he's gonna be good, and then Tannehill, nah, I just don't trust him.
Well, he showed that, and but think about what we said about Tannehill though. And I think we've been saying it all season, especially when Henry went down. We said in games where he's having to throw it a lot more and be the focal point, that's where they struggle. That's where his turnovers start to creep back up, similar to how he was with the Dolphins. Whereas the biggest reason why he's been so successful in Tennessee is because Derrick Henry's there. He hasn't had to make those throws over 4 quarters and be the reason. Whereas you could see Cincinnati, Joe Burrow, they believed in that from the beginning. And you could see just the difference in skill with them playing like that versus Tennessee playing the way they did. But it was nuts that, even with the turnovers and the performance that Tannehill had, they still had their opportunities though,
Oh, yeah, they had the ball
crazy,
to win the game.
Their opportunities.
They had the ball to win the game because Tennessee was able to get after Burrow. How many sacks did he take?
9
sacks,
8 or 9?
Yeah.
9 sacks, another 10, or no, it was like 12 QB hits. Like, reminded me and I thought about this too when I was watching that game, when we were talking about, man, can anybody survive behind our line and make it look like that? And I'm just like, is Burrow literally the only person that we've seen do that? Maybe Mahomes to an extent, but I don't think he was ever sacked that much and hit that much and still found a way to come out and win it.
Are you saying this year?
Yeah, I'm talking about this year, not in the past, because in the past we could point to it, but I'm saying this particular season. I'm trying to think, like, did we see somebody else have a situation like that where they got hit
Brady
and sacked
almost
that
did.
much?
He almost did against the Rams.
Yeah, he definitely almost did.
Almost did.
Close.
But yeah, Titans had the ball and the
Yeah.
game, and that throw, I don't know how I feel about it. It's bad because the result, obviously, it was in traffic. I don't mind like taking shots though.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was the right throw. Because if you don't do anything, you're just going to overtime.
Correct.
I like taking chances. Like I like them trying to take some shots down the field and everything, but I don't know. Is that on the receiver? Should he came back a little bit better? Are we just saying a good defensive play? Because it wasn't a bad thrown ball. Maybe it was just a bad decision.
Yeah. And like you said, because of the result, we comb through it and we have all these different opinions on it, but I don't know if I fault that one. Because like you said, in that situation, in that timing of it, you're trying to get the job done.
And then all of a sudden, Jamar Chase is wide open. Like, what are you doing on defense? This has happened too much over these past however many games the Bengals are playing. People are leaving them wide open.
But the thing that's crazy is you watch, though, and it's like, for one play, they leave him wide open, but the other times, it's like they give so much attention to him. And then you see guys like T. Higgins or Tyler Boyd take off. I mean, Higgins was having that game. Yeah. And that's the part where we talked about that receiving core. They do have that. I mean, they're loaded. And it showed up, and I was starting to show up a lot more, but the Achilles heel still remains that offensive line. They got to get that improved, man.
Yeah. Well, they already beat the Chiefs this year. I mean, now they're going on the road. It's definitely going to be a lot harder. So that'll be an interesting game.
And it's playoff Chiefs, too, as we know. It's a little different.
Yeah, playoffs are just different in general, for sure. You want to go to the next game? Packers-Niners?
Yeah, let's talk about that one.
What do you want to talk about?
I mean, what was your thoughts on it, man? This is the one I ain't gonna lie. I like this one the most just because I felt the strongest about this one the most.
Strongest.
Remember when we came in here was picking and
you said 49.
Yeah, and I remember right off the gate I went the Niners. I was like, all the other ones we kind of like, all right, who you want to take?
What was your reasoning though? You weren't thinking special teams.
No. What did I say though? What did I say? I said their defense and they could run the ball.
Yeah.
I said they play great defense and they run the ball. And what did they do? It wasn't the Garoppolo show. It was defense, run the ball, and then he got the special team.
You know what? I'll give him credit. Yeah. He made some good throws down the stretch.
True, but
he made some terrible throws though too, where he's like floating them up across the sideline.
It was a Jimmy G performance. It was a Jimmy G performance. But for me, I just felt like their defense creates issues, and their defense didn't really give up a ton of big plays. And watching the Packers, I just didn't feel like
that snow helped. Actually,
it did. It definitely.
As much
did.
as people want to say,
yes.
"Oh, Lambeau, Green Bay, the snow that helps the Packers," I don't think it did because it limits
the ball out of his hands.
It limits Aaron Rodgers a little bit.
Absolutely,
it makes the ground slippy for the receivers. So yeah, I thought it actually played in the 49ers' favor as long as they could handle the cold.
Yep, and they showed that they could. Man, it was good, man. So I definitely like that, but I also like that game too because of the special teams part at the end, right? Just goes to show when we talk about the three phases. I mean, we've won games behind special teams.
Well, there was a block field goal,
absolutely.
Too.
And once again, and we saw, I mean, Joe Hayden came out, he was like, yeah, just for the record, I wasn't offsides. And I was like, you know what, Joe? I like your energy, baby. I like that. But as a whole, it just continues to remind us that it is three phases to a game. I mean, I think in all of these games that we saw this weekend, at some point in time, all of that was highlighted in terms of the importance of defense, not just a quarterback, and how different of a game that was, where you had one of those top five quarterbacks that we talk about in Aaron Rodgers versus a guy like Jimmy G, who isn't top five, but his team is stacked because of, understanding that. Whereas with Green Bay, we know they got this piece, they got dogs around him, but they also have some holes as well in certain areas. And we saw that in some of those things pop up like that, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And Rodgers, I don't know. I don't think he played that well.
I did not either, bro. Do you think he got conservative though?
That was the knock on him a couple years ago,
yeah, because
when they drafted Jordan Love and he had his so-called down year.
Mm-hmm.
I think his picks were at like 4 or something,
bro,
but
like,
it wasn't the same type of season. Like his QBR was down.
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of it because I'm reading a lot of stuff now and I'm learning about the Packers situation.
Okay.
And why this game was important and why this whole talk about Rodgers not coming back is actually more legitimate than maybe we think. Is because their cap space, they're negative $40 million going into this offseason.
And they still got to get Devontae under contract.
And he already made it clear, I don't want to be part of a rebuild.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be interesting. He might just retire. I mean, he could go either way.
Well, shoot, him and Brady, now all of a sudden that's popped up out the blue, especially, when we talk about the Brady element of it. But yeah, when he started speaking on not wanting to be about a part of a rebuild, but then you factor in where they are cap wise, and then you start looking at potential suitors through free agency if he doesn't want to be a part of a rebuild in Green Bay. it's like, man, where we gonna find your fit? Like, excuse me, in that sense, where you're hopping on a contender that doesn't already have that quarterback in place and stuff like that. So, yeah, that was huge right there, man. That was huge. But I was definitely happy to see that the Niners did take that, man. Shout out to all the people in the Bay too, man.
1-3. You got 2 games on me this week.
I had a big weekend.
That was big. It
was one of those ones where it was a big weekend, but it hurt the most because I ain't wanted it. And I was like, out of all the ones that I had to drop, that was the one. And in that fashion, like I couldn't have that. Oh man, yeah.
Can I say this?
Go ahead, get it off your chest, man. It's a Monday. It is a Monday.
You know I like Rodgers. I'm fine with him. But I just want to say this to all those clowns.
Please say it. Please. I've been waiting on it. Please.
You feel the same way?
I do.
That's the guy you guys have been clamoring for this whole season?
Thank you.
The guy that's been to 1 Super Bowl?
Thank you.
When the chips are all on the table, sometimes doesn't show up. That's all. That's who you were clamoring for? Over Big Ben Roethlisberger?
Talk about it. Get it off your chest, man.
Come on, man.
You got more in your tank than that, too. Nah, man. Nah, don't you do that.
Because Rodgers is still good. But it's just
Nah, he is nice though.
Yeah, he's nice, still bro. Good. I consider him one of the top 5 or 6 guys. And
but it is crazy. Like, I do agree with you even more in the sense of when we talk about Rodgers and we continue to put him on this pedestal, but then you look at how many times he's gotten back to that game.
And it's not all his fault.
It's not at all, man.
But the special team stuff doesn't happen, they'd probably win that game.
Yes, I do agree with that.
There is something also, but we point
to him though as well in some of those senses, especially in the second half when you're asking yourself, like, if you are this guy, give it to us right here. Like, take some more chances right here. That's the only thing I feel like when we watch in comparison Brady. Man, Brady won't turn that thing down. He was going the other. He would turn it up even more. We talk about Josh and obviously what Mahomes was doing. Like, we see, you know what I mean? Like, them guys is like, yo, I'm going to put my foot on the pedal even more. Whereas with him, I don't know. It was more conservative, I felt like, man. And I don't like conservative play like that, especially in big games like this either, man.
Yeah, for sure. Nah. I posted that tweet out yesterday looking back when Ben had that like AC joint sprain and tore ligaments and stuff. Toussaint, RB1. We had Martavis, Sammy Coach, DHB. Marcus Wheaton, Heath Miller in his last season, Jesse James, and Spade. I wouldn't say those tight ends are the most prolific. And dude goes and throws for over 300 yards against the Broncos, the best defense. Left it all out there. But this is football. I mean, you see the examples here with Josh Allen. You could even say with Rodgers that, I mean, it's a team game. Like, you can have good performances, or in Rodgers' case, he was playing not to lose, and I don't think the Packers necessarily lost that game. It was just like the 49ers took it away with their play. It happens. It's a team game. It sucks.
Yeah. No, 100%,
like, there's no reason to knock Josh Allen.
Yeah, well, and I
no reason to even knock Brady. Like, some people that lose, or sometimes when teams lose, it's not all on the quarterback.
Because that's another thing too, man. With the Brady situation, obviously, I guess we go ahead and transition to that game as well. But that ending, when we're talking about that, like, I do like the fact that we can, even though I know everybody wants to dunk on Brady because it's the whole Brady element. Oh, he's not going back to the Super Bowl. It's great. I get that, but he still was doing his thing. That's the part for me where I was just like, man, especially late in the game, not early on in the game, it was a little bit of a rocky start. I get that. But I thought late in the game, it got back to looking like that's Brady. And we know what it was going to be. And
why were people saying he's washed again or something?
Well, you know, in the first half, you know how they do. First half, oh man, he need to go and retire with Ben. Oh man, that was the talk. It was, oh man, he might retire right now. He's looking terrible. I'm like, bro, y'all got to stop this, B. Y'all got to stop this, man.
It's stupid. I mean, the dude just came off throwing for over 5,000 yards and over 40 touchdowns. You're saying he goes from a week ago not being washed to being washed now? No, it's just simply doesn't have the same weapons. His only guy is Mike Evans. Receivers weren't doing what they supposed to in the first.
It was OG Gronk. Gronk was the main guy from him and Evans.
Not only that, and the Rams are getting a ton of pressure on him. The Bucs offensive line was sucking. What happens when you put all that combination together?
Not all the O-line was sucking.
Who am I messing? There's JMU guy on there, right?
The starting right tackle happened. He got hurt, so you know that's why the line got real bad once he left. But shout out to my dog Josh Wells, starting right tackle, James Madison University. I said go Dukes when he said it. Yeah, we ain't gonna ask about when he was matching up against Aaron Donald. We ain't worried about all that.
Yeah, I can't say they were
sucking.
I'm saying?
Yeah,
when they had a tough matchup.
When he left, you can say whatever you want, but while he was out there, it wasn't terrible. It was like JV varsity. It was kind of like they play on both teams. You know what I mean? You on a Thursday night game, then you play on a Friday night game.
But that's the type of stuff that I was talking about with Ben all season. If you add all that combination together, it's going to be tough for the quarterback.
Yeah.
And that's the type of stuff I thought Ben was dealing with all year. And you saw it Brady in the first half, and you saw all these idiots saying the same thing they were saying about Ben, in my opinion, saying he's washing, that type of stuff. But it is what it is. I mean, that was a good game. That was a good game.
They be trying you, man. They be trying. I don't know what they would come at you, man, like that, bro.
That's what I mean. If you put Ben around good, I've been saying this. I don't need to keep saying it. I want him back and everything, but
real question though. Real question right now though. Has Stafford taken that next step for you?
Not yet.
That's
only one playoff.
That was only one. You're right. That was only one, but it's pretty impressive. Would you agree?
Well, I guess technically last week, but
that was the big one.
That's more of the
yes.
That's the big one. That's more of the Cardinals not being ready, if anything. Yeah, we got to keep saying it. That's one win.
Yeah.
And if anything, it looked like he was folding a little bit in the second half.
I swear. I thought I was like, yo.
It wasn't all on him. Cooper Kupp with the fumbles, the running back fumbles, but he didn't look that confident either.
Was that, like, bro, I swear, Akers low-key had two of the most fluky fumbles, though, bro. The one going into the end zone, then the one where his helmet hits. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely not all on Stafford, but if you're going to take a comparison of the quarterbacks late in that second half, Brady looked a lot calmer. Stafford didn't. But you know what? Tied up. He made the throws at the end of the day. But I don't know. It might have been more on the Bucs defense. I don't know what the hell they're doing.
And thank you. Let's talk about that, because I did want to talk about that. Man, that defensive call, Lord have mercy, that is either... to me... You just can't do that, baby. Now, I saw Bruce Arians. He came back after the fact and talked about it being a zero blitz and how some of the guys didn't blitz. Very similar to what we talked about Trey Norwood Raiders game, where it was like, yo, it's a blitz. He's late, and that puts the coverage in a bind. Yes, that is true. I still hate the call. Why are you going cover zero with Cooper Kupp lined up there, knowing that you're going to get this dude in the middle of the field and essentially a two-way go with whatever he's doing because you're saying it's cover zero. And I get this whole thought process of, hey, the ball has to come out fast because we're blitzing. But how many times have we seen Mahomes, Ben, Allen, when they're getting zero pressure, all they're going to do is backpedal, put air into that ball. And either way, you're talking Cooper Kupp one-on-one against a DB. And we know this is the Triple Crown winner in terms of leading the league in receiving yards, catches, and touchdowns. So it's like, bro, why are you calling that right then? To me, that was one of those arrogant calls in the sense of, yo, I just believe that we're going to walk off and get a sack right here and end it, or we're going to force them something crazy. Where in all actuality, you didn't need to do any of that. You didn't need to. You know, you sit back, you play that too high, or you go too, man, if you want to be aggressive, or you can even send a nickel. But don't send everybody. That zero blitz thing, man, midfield like that, that's risky business. That's your Mike Pettins, your Rex Ryans, that type of stuff. And it can work, and people applaud it when it does. And you're like, bro, he got big cojones. You go cover zero in the middle of the field like this. But to me, the risk reward in that type of situation right there is just not worth it to me.
I agree. Absolutely stupid. Why not make Stafford at that point try to make all the perfect reads, be precise with his timing? Because at that point, you had all the momentum. You had all the momentum. That throw that he made is such an easier throw than dropping back and trying to pick up like a cover three or something.
Think about this. The first throw that he hit on that drive to Cooper Kupp, I wanted him to have to make more throws like that, where it's timing, crisp, everything has to be perfect, and make you even want to look to see, did Cooper actually get out of bounds right there? Like, that's the type of stuff that I'm calling to make him execute like that. Not, hey, let's just go force the action right now. Let's go, hey, it's pass or fail right here on this play. I'm not a fan of that. And no different even when you're talking about the Chiefs in the Chiefs game, right? When they scored to tie it up at the end, and people are, excuse me, not that game, but I'm trying to, oh my goodness, I forgot which part of the game it was, where it was the conversation of, okay, once they score, do you go for two to go for the win, or do you kick the field goal right here and tie it up playing overtime? And I just kept thinking to myself, like, man, when you got a team on the ropes, like, in fact, it was that game. It was when the Bucs tied it up, when they scored and they could have kicked the field goal or they could have went for two, and people was like, yeah, man, go for two, go for the win. And I'm like, I get that, but you take this team off the hook, because if it doesn't work, you're essentially putting everything on this one play right here. And when you call a cover zero blitz in the middle of the field, you're essentially doing the exact same thing. You're saying, hey, I don't want them to snap the ball anymore. I don't think our team can beat them if we have to play 10 more plays. Let's just do it right now. And if your team is better, which at that time, the Bucks, like you said, they had the momentum. They were already proving that, hey, man, we got them. We're in their head. They look nervous.
Yeah.
Make them have to go out there and execute that ball. Make them have to snap that ball 3-4 more times while watching that clock and see how different it is. But it just wasn't patient, man. It's frustrating, but he just was not patient in terms of the coordinator on that call right there.
I thought the Rams were going to botch up the snap or the spike. I definitely thought someone was going to be false starting. I really did. But no, good for them.
All the nonsense that was happening in that game, like it was crazy. Even you watch Stafford when he spikes it. I'm like, yo, like it was OD on the spike, low key. Like, yo, are you about to call a flag? You're gonna mess this up too? And I get it. I was hyped with him though, because obviously we had our interests in that game, and that was before the Bills game, so I was definitely on my I need to come.
Would you bet on that?
No, but remember that was one of my picks for us in house, so I was already hyped. Like, yo, I need that part. So yeah.
So what is it for our picks? You got to win the next three.
Next three. I got to,
and it's tied.
Yeah. No, well, we got another game in there, Pro Bowl.
We can't do that.
I was over here like, yo, I got that Pro Bowl, and that's the ace in the hole.
Maybe depending on
where we're at though.
If I'm trying to think. If I'm up 1 or 2, why not?
Well, because right now,
if I'm only up 1 or 2,
right now,
because that's before the Super Bowl, right?
If I just need one this week, if I get one this week, that still puts me in contention.
Oh, well, that's the thing, though. It's either going to be split.
Or over.
Yeah, you have to win both, basically. Yeah. We'll talk
We're going to see, man. We got time for that. Today's Monday. We're going to get to that on one of them other days. Not today, because today, Monday. And it's a grieving Monday. It's not a victory Monday. And I'm still very sad, guys. And I'm double sad. In fact, y'all should be showing me extra love because I have the weight of the Steelers loss. I have the weight of the Bills loss. And I got the weight of the Cardinals loss as well. It's rough times, man. It's rough times out here, bro. That's all.
There's one more game, right?
Yeah. What's the other game? Hold on, am I forgetting one?
I'm good with skipping it if you want to. Don't matter.
Oh, stop it.
Whatever's best for you, dude.
You see, I tried it. I'm a man of the people. And the people don't want to talk about Bills on this show. This is a Steelers show. So, I don't even know why we even, we know this is a Steelers show. Nobody care about that Bills stuff. Hey, man, we're talking about the Bills game, bro. We just go, man. Who's this new coordinator we got coming in here, bro? What's up with that, man? Nah. The Bills game, because that is the elephant in the room. Obviously, people want to talk overtime rules as well. But before we even get to that, I mean, just as a whole, that game lived up. I even say it exceeded expectations.
It exceeded, for sure.
It definitely exceeded. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was one of those ones that even though, the squad did not win, you still walk away and you're like, bro, I can't even hang my head, bro. Like they did, they left it out there on the table. Now, it was perfect. And I do think that they definitely got to improve in certain elements. But the crazy part is this: statistically, that defense is an elite defense. You look at them, they're top ranked 1 in a whole bunch of categories, top 5 and a lot of other stuff. But
they were making Mahomes work.
Yeah, they were. But we know that's the thing, though. And that's kind of what you talk about in terms of when you got that guy, you're always in. You always got a chance. And he is able to elevate above all of that. Because I'm like, man, if that defense, the way that I was playing yesterday, that D-line, the way they were getting after that quarterback, man, if that's any other quarterback, it's not like that. This game is 2 scores probably. But when you have a Mahomes, a guy that can extend plays, a guy that can take off a run, make you, play certain coverages as we saw as well. I mean, I just thought that the skill from the Chiefs offense, the coaches as well, in terms of some of the schematics, their short yardage packages and things like that. I just thought, man, both teams, coordinators and offense skill position groups were on full display last night. And it was good to see, man.
They even pulled out that stupid ass little underthrow, but it hit off Edwards-Hilaire's helmet or something. He completely dropped it. Yeah. They didn't score on that play. But you're right. Yeah, what the hell were they doing with Blake Bell at tight end, though? That was stupid. Yeah. I hate that. I'm really against that.
But that
taking it out of Mahomes'
that
hands
was the
on
whole
evolution,
though. That was the evolution.
But
they've been building this package up, right? So you think a week ago, they run one version of that package. Kelsey hits it for a touchdown. Nobody's complaining. They're like, yo, it's a great job. Innovation, right? We're highlighting Bieniemy. We're highlighting Andy Reid. But now this week, after they've worked it, and done all these other things from it, this variation doesn't work. But trust me, they're going to have a whole nother variation coming up next week where we know they're going to do something crazy. And we're like, man, here they go with these tricks again. Here they go with this creativity again. And yeah, that's just what they do. But man.
Final 2 minutes. Is that what you want to talk about now?
Final 2 minutes were nuts.
That is absolutely insane.
Bro, it was a 17 points in like a minute and 13 seconds. Like crazy. For me, the bomb to Gabriel Davis, the response from Josh, that was the one. That's why I feel like how it all got really, really going. Then Mahomes came back. No, the punt return as well by Tyreek Hill, because that's again showing the special teams element and just showing the significance of it. Any other return, you're not worried about it like that. Tyreek is a little different. But the fact they were putting him back out there let you know how significant of a game it was and how they felt like, hey man, this is we here. We can't carry this over. We can't hold him back and wait a little bit. We got to empty up all the whole clip. So I did like that part. It was more of a sign of respect. It was a sign of respect, man.
Yeah, Josh Allen was clutch as hell, man.
But 13 seconds, bro. 13 seconds, man.
Is this a Bucks type of situation for you, where the defensive calls were bad execution? What did you see?
It was a mix, honestly. I think first off, I start special teams wise. I'm still conflicted. I don't hate the decision, but I'm just kind of going back and forth for would you kick it out the end zone or do you put it on the ground squib style, maybe take a second or two off the clock. Now, granted, just because you squib kick does not mean that clock is going to start. If nobody gets hit by that ball, as soon as somebody touches it, they take a knee, nothing has to go off that clock. So I get the thought process of, oh, just squib it. But if the execution is there, it's not going to matter. Anyways, if anything, you're just going to give them better field position depending on where they get that ball. That they, guy stepping that ball 40-yard line. Now Mahomes really doesn't have to go that far. So that part of it, I kind of go back and forth with that. But I guess for me, part of it was execution, part of it's the Chiefs. During that time frame with 13 seconds left, you're thinking two things. You're saying they can either go hook and lateral, whereas when they drop that pass to Tyreek, that's the start of a hook and lateral where he would go across the field. We get to pitching it. That's one route. So you're thinking that. You're also thinking you got to protect the sidelines. But this is the part where we talk about the Chiefs being different, because I thought
they had all their timeouts, right?
Yeah,
or 2 timeouts?
They had 2 timeouts. So call-wise, I like protecting the sidelines in a sense, but it's not the end all because they got 2 timeouts. I like the fact that you're allowing the underneath catch to Tyreek Hill if they're going hook and lateral, because, hey, that the hook and lateral doesn't kill you. But the element that's the game changer is Tyreek Hill. He changes it from a 3-yard or 5-yard catch to a 20-yard gain because of his speed. That burst, that's the part that you can't account for. And that to me was just like, all right, that's a Chiefs play right there. The next one, I don't even mind Kelsey getting the catch. But the execution at the end of the play, I do think that's something that Leslie Frazier should have talked to the guys about, in the sense of, you hear when teams say, hey man, certain situation, let a guy score. Certain situations, you hold a guy up. Certain situations, hey, take your time getting up off of him on the tackle. Certain situations, defensively, hey, we should be thinking this pre-snap already. So you watch when Kelsey catches that ball, everybody's chasing him down, but you watch when the tackle is going on, it's like, bro, hold him. If all y'all around here, let them drag you. It's not going to kill you because that clock is ticking. And those yardage compared to that time, they can't call timeout if he's still up, if he's still moving. So that part of me, I'm like, yo, come on, man. We got to think a little bit better here. Or even in the sense of once he's down, make sure you take some time getting up off of him. Make them use clock. Make them use that. And that was the part with just execution where I was like, man, it just sucks. But it's also Travis Kelce. And how far down the field he was as well. That's part of who he is. You know what I mean? So that's why I said part of his execution. I did not like the execution all the way, but at the same time, it's like, you got to give the Chiefs some credit, because man, if that's any other tight end or any other wide receiver, it doesn't happen like that. But when you got Cheetah, you saw my man throw the peace sign to on the way to, bro, he was behind.
I thought they were going to throw the flag. I really did.
For a second, I did too, but I ain't want it. I ain't gonna lie. I did not want the call.
I'm surprised they didn't. Yeah, that would have been cheap, man.
Yeah, a lot of us were surprised that they didn't, but I did not want that, because I thought it would have cheapened it if the Bills would have won. They would have pointed to that and said, oh, that's the only reason why. But bro, I just had to, as much as I was hurt, I was so hyped, bro, because I said, yo, you know how bad of a man you got to be to throw the peace sign to a cat.
Was he 20 yards away?
In front of you. The man is in front of you. I say, Lord. I say, yo, you hit him with this and he's there. I say, you a bad dude for that, bro. I'm in my group. I'm like, yo, I couldn't even get mad. I'm just like, yo, I hate the fact that I love that so much. I hate it. But just as a football purist, like, that was pretty tough, man. And then, of course, after the fact, when I get to hear Mahomes' interview, and he says, well, Andy Reid came over to me right before I go out there with 13 seconds left down. And he says, when things get grim, go be the Grim Reaper. I said, Lord have mercy. I said, that's one of the best damn quotes I done heard all my life, man. I said, I wish I could have thought of something like that. And I wish I could be in a position for somebody to tell me that, hey, when things get grim, go be the Grim Reaper. I said, I could just see Mahomes with that catch-up Kermit the Frog voice like, yes, sir. And just gets up out there, and go out there and cook. I'm just like, oh, my God. It was so hard, though, bro. It was so hard. I hate it. I hate the fact that I like it, too,
is this
bro.
how you're dealing with it?
Because I told you I'm conflicted.
You're complimenting them too much.
I'm conflicted because how many times do I come up here and I say all the time, like, yo, I'm a football purist. I just love the game, like less about allegiances and like where my rooting interests guard, but I just love watching it, bro. And just certain things, it's like, yo, that was like just classic. I just hate we had to be on the Bills had to be on the other end of it, but it was like, yo, it was a classic line. Like, yo, Deke, when things get grim, go be the Grim Reaper. And then you go out there and actually do it. It's one thing if you go out there and you don't do it, but you go out there and you actually do it, bro. That's the second quote this weekend that was fire. First, that you had that one. You had one for Cincy. The kicker, the rookie kicker, McPherson. He looks to him and says, yo, before he goes on the field, oh, it's time for me to kick it? Guess we're going to the NFC Championship there. Lord, and it goes and nails it. Bruh. It's those type of quotes, man.
That doesn't look like your classic Cincy kicker. That's not Randy Bullock.
The boy said, oh, it's on me? I guess we're going to the NFC Championship. Bruh. I love that. And like, bro, I can't stand Cincinnati. Like, you know how we feel about them, but man, that type of quote, man, it's just like, it's certain things, man. You just like, as a lover of sports, a lover of competition, gamesmanship, and just high level play. Like, I thought this weekend, man, it just hit every element of it, man.
100%.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're talking about your boy enough.
Well, I was going to get to him. I was just trying to be, let's talking situation.
Because he played amazing.
No, he did, bro.
He played unreal.
He did. Josh definitely. It's hard to say he opened more eyes or made our eyes even more wider, but it was one of those scenarios where we knew he was capable. Because obviously, I mean, you know how
he did it a ton last regular season. I mean, his 2020 regular season was better than this one.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's done some of this stuff, but it's been a little bit more of a down year for the Bills compared to that one.
No, absolutely.
But yeah, he could do this. We just didn't know. Could he do it in the AFC Championship against Mahomes?
Yeah. And that was the difference too. Like, to see that in the head-to-head. I mean, I was feeling like I was watching
final drive. Even it's one thing to say you dueled him the whole game, but then you have the ball
and
minute
you gotta
left.
Have it, and everything is pointing to you not getting it done. Everything is pointing to the history. Oh, Bills going Bills. Oh man, Josh is going to choke in this moment.
It did happen, but it was the defense's fault.
Yes, and that was the difference though, because it was just like, dang, like it was good to see that though, man. But you talk about those clutch performances, man. Like, he definitely showed a whole nother level. Like, you start looking in his eyes on the sideline, they were showing him and Mahomes just going back and forth. You know me, I love defense, but those two guys dueling it, man, I forgot all about my defense, and I was like, yo, y'all just keep doing what y'all doing. If somebody stop y'all, great, but you know what? I'm here for it all night. Let's go.